Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Nutcracker, where in this video I'm going to cover the Dance of the Mirlitons, which has the famous flute trio feature. In this video I'll cover the third flute part. It's very hard because we're so low and articulating low, and also we had been playing a lot of high piccolo up to this point, which makes it even more challenging. Etc. Okay, so, that's hard. The main thing overall that I have to remind myself every time I play it is to not force. I think we, as flute players, are always trained when we have low notes to really try and honk them out. It's like full Galway volume. And it's not necessary for one here. And also it prevents us from getting the shortness, which you need, that light, short articulation. When practicing, maybe play a measure or something up an octave and then try to copy that short and lightness character down in the octave that's written in. So like at the beginning, for instance, that's actually not too hard. But anyway, I would maybe practice that up an octave or play it once up an octave. You know, it's so much easier to be up there. And then try to copy that character. Oops. Like that. So when it gets harder, for instance, after 37, like 4 after 37 or something, when you have the E, or even the 5th bar in from the beginning, E, that's, you know, that's where it starts to get difficult. So, I'm trying to copy, if I just played all middle register E's, E, And the thing I'm thinking about when I'm dropping down the octave, the embouchure does change quite a bit. When I go down to the lower octave, E, and then the measure later, C sharp, really dropping my jaw and trying to make a big space in inside of my mouth with the jaw, or with the teeth far apart when I drop down. Also, let me see. Also, I feel like my airstream, when I go down to the bottom octave, kind of comes back towards me and is angling more straight down. And again, not trying to be like, I mean, you don't need to honk out the bottom notes. A good way to practice this octave dropping is to do maybe even just from the, maybe a little higher so it's not so difficult. From like a G, practicing this. Or actually a good way to start is do 2 middle register ones and then 2 low ones. And then go down chromatic until you get to that low C sharp. Oops. And then you can do, as it's written, 1 middle register dropping to 3. And you can go slower. I was just going quicker for time. It's so hard. The other thing I noticed that I was doing when I'm down at extreme low, like that low C sharp, my tongue placement is different when I get down really low to help facilitate the shortness, because we can't tongue how you would normally tongue, well, how you would tongue for the middle register. So when you're tonguing middle register, my tongue is, you know, kind of forward. It's hitting the roof of the mouth, right where the ridge is, you know, right behind the front teeth, somewhere in there. However you say the word two, that's where my tongue is. You cannot do that, at least I have found, for the low register to make it short. So you can't go, I can't tongue in the same place. What I found my tongue does is it actually pulls back quite a bit in my mouth. So the tongue is like back, and then my tongue kind of like in a very backward position, just ta, ha, ha. And it's not even hitting the roof of my mouth at all. It's just sort of like cutting the air a little bit to make little air partials is what I'm doing. I guess it's hitting the roof of the mouth. So when I tongue the middle C sharp, ta, and then ta, it's my tongue is coming way back and then hitting just very lightly the roof of the mouth or whatever is back there. One other thing about the octave drops is that the embouchure does relax quite a bit when it's changing to go to the lower octave. So I feel like it's kind of going from the regular aperture, like more of a circle up and down. And then when I go to the low register, I feel like my aperture in the embouchure just kind of widens out. So that's another thing you can experiment with. Everything, in other words, everything just like relaxes here, widens out the aperture, and that also slows the air down, and it just places the air straight into the flute a little more. Some other things I do that might be helpful is in the second line here, the second measure in, right here, that second D, that eighth note, I always just put my ring finger down right on that second articulation. It helps that second D speak. Like that. It really helps make the notes speak. So I'll just start on the beginning of the second line on the E's. Do a little click there. Also, I find that going to the C sharp octave drop here in the second measure, that when I'm on the middle C sharp, my pinky is already in position on the low C sharp key. So I'm going E, 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 ba-dum, bump, C sharp, and it's just ready to go. That helps me a tiny bit, so your pinky's not traveling over for the low C sharp. Other things of note, just try to keep your vibrato, like when you have the held notes, yum, yada da da da, to whatever the principal flute player is doing, and then ideally the whole flute section should sound the same with vibrato speed, and wherever you're breathing and the phrasing, all that, you should sound like one flute unit. The last issue would be about dynamics. Overall, it's light and soft. I mean, there's some crescendos here. Like in the second measure, the little crescendo, that's just a phrasing marking. And again, just only do as much as your principal flute is doing, and second flute, they should be matching. So in the second line, you have piano crescendo. I mean, that's where you can really try and make those low C sharps and low E's really loud, but that's kind of dangerous. It's really risky to try and do the crescendo on those low notes, because the notes can easily go away from you. And once they start going away from you, it's really hard to get them back. When I play this in the ballet, I just make sure the notes come out and I don't worry about a crescendo. I mean, I try, when the notes are feeling good, like they're really sitting there and you have some kind of confidence that your repeated E's are gonna be okay, you can try to get it a little louder, but I wouldn't do too much. Just be very cautious through here, just careful going through this line. I just sort of keep it all the same. Before 38, the couple measures, you have a crescendo. You can easily do that, you know, but again, don't go outside of the notes itself. It's just sort of a phrasing rather than getting louder through your dun, 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 dun. You don't want it to sound psychotic. So at 36, you're going, it's just sort of, it's stabilizing. I wouldn't try to do a big crescendo. At 38, it says fortissimo. You're just, whatever dynamic you're at, you stay there. Jump up, 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 dun, 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 and then you drop. And this part that I'm looking at, I just got off of IMSLP. It shows a diminuendo through 40 and 41. I don't remember that being in the regular parts that I've looked at when I've played it in a ballet. I think it's just loud, you know, or regular volume, and then I believe it should be subito piano at 5 after 38. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. So right at the low E's, then it should just be a subito piano, pretty sure. But at any rate, it should be kind of a distinct, different phrase start at the low E's right here. And you can take the quickest of breaths right there. Get a really good breath 2 before 38, and then you really have to pace out your breathing because your next breath is not going to be until 5 after 38, 4 after 38. And then you get the quickest breath, and then do your E's following that very soft. So it's a distinct difference. And then you just pace yourself out, and then you can get another quick breath right before 39, where the main phrase starts again. Etc. Please hit subscribe to this channel, and then you will get a notification when I have the next video up in this whole Nutcracker series. And in the meantime, you can check out the rest of the videos that I have up already. It's like 5 or 6 of them on a playlist. Okay, so happy practicing, and I will see you at the next video.